Hey everybody, it's Ray with Cooking with Pennies, and today we are going to be cooking out of this, I keep saying 1999 because I'm so used to having my cookbooks be from 19 whatever. So year 2000, the year I got married, Taste of Home annual recipe books. Now I found a whole bunch of these books, a whole bunch of different years. Like I am so excited about these books because they have some really great, as you can tell, I've marked a whole bunch of recipes in this thing. They have a whole bunch of really great recipes in here, and what's really awesome about them is like people will talk about like a little story with the recipe. So these are like recipes, like family recipes from all over the US, right? In these books here, which is actually, it makes the recipe that a bit more special because you might be making somebody else's grandma's great-grandmother's recipe. So technically, I guess you can consider it a vintage recipe if there's like a great-grandma in here that has her granddaughter sharing a recipe. So anyway, today we are going to be cooking cabbage rolls. I have not made cabbage rolls in forever. It's been at least 10 years since I've made cabbage rolls, and that's only because my kids are super picky. So then anytime I would make stuff like that, they really wouldn't like it too much. But now that they're older and their palates have been changing a bit, I really think that this is a good time to try them. And so I'm going to show you guys the recipe ingredients. So let's get started. Okay, so here we go. So remember, I'm also doubling up my recipes because my family of 7 is definitely more than any serving size in any cookbook unless they're doing like bulk cooking. So you're gonna see obviously more than what I'm saying here, but remember, I'm doing the recipes for you, but just showing you guys a really great way on how to do this stuff, and especially for a pretty decent price. Okay, so the recipe is calling for 1 medium head of cabbage, 2 cups of chopped onion, I have 4, 1 tablespoon of butter, 2 cans of Italian stewed tomatoes, 4 garlic cloves, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1.5 teaspoons of salt, but I decided to reduce that, 1 cup of cooked rice, I forgot the ketchup, 1/4 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, who knows how to say that, 1/4 teaspoon of pepper here, 1 pound of lean ground beef. A lot of the recipes that I do use in vintage recipes, I guess beef was like the cheaper option for everything, so we're actually going to be using ground turkey to kind of change it up a bit. And 1 pound of bulk Italian sausage. We are going to be using the Sausage List Italian sausage from Trader Joe's. And we got a 1/2 cup of V8 juice, which is optional, but we're gonna go for it. All right, let's get cooking. Okay, so I am thinking that this is the beginning of the demise of this recipe, but there was my head of cabbage that was supposed to be boiling for 10 minutes. Here are all the ingredients. Right now I'm taking that butter and I'm gonna melt it down. And I'm gonna also I decided that I wanted to use instant rice this time. I didn't wanna wait 10 years for it to be done. However, waiting 10 years at this point would have been okay. So we're gonna saute our onions and we're going to add our Italian stewed tomatoes from Winco. I think I paid 51 cents per can for those tomatoes, and they were actually very delicious. Now we are adding our garlic and the brown sugar and the salt and get that incorporated together. 15 minutes, but it looks like 51 minutes. Okay, so we're gonna take that Sausage List sausage from Trader Joe's, and when I was reading the recipe, I kind of assumed that it meant like the Italian sausage that's not already in the casings, so that's why I cut it up really small for this recipe instead of a little bit more chunky. Then we're incorporating into the rice, and as you can see, I have an issue with my pan being too small. We have our ketchup and our black pepper. Again, I made many dirty dishes tonight, which is not normal for me. But I'm learning now when I'm making these types of recipes that I really need to go buy like almost kitchen quality, really big pots and pans, because cooking this way and as the kids are getting older is just really crazy, and I'm running out of space and I'm making more dishes than necessary. So as you can tell, I'm really struggling with this cabbage. I don't know if maybe it was, you know, maybe the leaves are, but see how it's like falling apart. So I'm assuming I cut them or I boiled them a little too long. Here I am trying to fit just, there's only like 8 and I'm going, okay, well, or excuse me, there's like 10 and I'm like, okay, well that's 2 per person for 5 kids, but then there's nothing for my husband and myself. So then I was like, okay, here we go, dirtying up another pan to to figure out what I'm gonna do here. So this is just, as I said before, it's a mess. So here I am, now I'm really frustrated and pissed off. So I've got my slicer and shredder that I'm gonna attach to my KitchenAid. There are all of my dirty dishes and the slicer and shredder, and here is just a big giant mess. Now I'm cutting up this cabbage because I'm going to shred it. I'm going to shred it really small because I figured I'm going to take it and just saute it and use it as like a side. And then now I am cooking the meat. Okay, so this whole entire thing is turning into a mess, and I don't know if I cabbaged too long. I don't know if I cooked the cabbage too long and made the leaves overly tender to where when I was making them they were like breaking, and then not big enough when you have to take out the rib. I don't know what's going on. It's just a mess. So basically what I'm going to do now is I am going to make a deconstructed stuffed cabbage. That's the only thing that I could think of at this point. It's 6:53. My husband's gonna be home soon. We have to go somewhere, so I'm kind of I'm in a time crunch. So, you know, things don't always happen the way that they happen, and that's fine. It's totally okay. So we are going to make a deconstructed, de-stuffed cabbage, and I'm still thinking of how I'm doing this. So this might be a bit longer of a video. Sorry, guys. So now I am cooking the meat again, and I had to reduce it because there was so much meat in that pan, and miraculously I put it into my big thing. I had put all of that tomato sauce in there, and I actually added like 3 eggs to try to bind it, to kind of make it like a meatloaf in a sense. And then I just mixed it all together. I covered it, and then I put it in the oven at 375 for an hour. Now I am going to saute my my cabbage. I can never remember cabbage. We use lettuce so much that we don't ever think about cabbage, right? There's some butter. I did pepper and salt, and that's gonna put a really good seasoning on it, especially with the butter. You know what? It's really simple. I was gonna do a coleslaw, and then I remembered that you kind of have to chill it, and I didn't really feel like going there and dirtying up a hell of a lot more dishes, because at this point, as you had seen before, my sink is overflowing with dishes, and I'm just not winning in this stuffed cabbage battle. So that is it for now. I'm sauteing the cabbage, and here is a nice photo of what it looks like after it got out of the oven. And there's the sauteed cabbage. So thank you so much for hanging out with me here and watching my stuffed cabbage fail. Have a great evening, guys. See you later. Bye.